So hi friends, how are you all? So I'm back with the part 6 video for this particular course. It's all about the historical background of the Indian Constitution. So in the last session we have completed about the East India Company's rule. Okay, so in this particular session, in this particular video, we will discuss about the Crown's rule. Right, moving on. So this was a content which I have given to you. So of this we have completed the first and the second one, means we have completed the introduction part and the second one also. Of course even 2.4 is also completed. I just didn't highlight it. So the company rule have been explained for you guys in a very detailed manner. Now we are just moving on to the third chapter, that is the Crown's rule, and this third chapter will start from 1858 to 1942. Right, just move on. No, I'm sorry, I have not. Anyway, the Crown's rule. So I told you the Crown's rule starts from 1858 to 1847. Under the Crown's rule, just like the East India Company's rule, even under the Crown's rule also, we are having many acts. Okay, many important acts that we are supposed to study for our examination point of view. And these are the list of the acts that have mentioned. Like first one is the Government of India Act 1858 and Indian Council Act of, say, the second, third, and fourth. Indian Council Act of 1861, 1892, 1909. And here, the Government of India Act of 1919. Sixth one is the Government of India Act of 1935. And next is, last but not the least, is the Indian Independence Act of 1947. Means starting from the 1600th century, that 1600 year, we are talking or we are discussing till 1947, means starting from where the Britishers entered into India till they give independence to us. Till then we are going to discuss. So the first part has been completed. Now we are talking about the Crown's rule. I told you wherever I use the word crown, it means that the British Queen. Right. So, under this, we will discuss all of this one by one in a very detailed manner. The first one under the Crown's rule is the Government of India Act 1858. So, today's video we will discuss about this Government of India Act 1858. So, let us know more points about this. So, actually, this Government of India Act of 1858 came after the Sipai Mutiny in 1857. So this one, see this Government of India Act we got in 1858. But before this act, we got a Sipai Mutiny. Okay, this Sipai Mutiny is also called as First War of Independence. We will talk about this Sipai Mutiny as a separate video. Let us not club everything and get confused. Just go, let us go in an order, and I assure you that I will complete each and every topic for your convenience, and I will not make you to confuse. I will not allow you to confuse. So I'll give a very detailed description. Okay, and every corner of the topic will be covered. So let me discuss about this topic. So Government of India Act we got after Sipai Mutiny, which was in which year the Sipai Mutiny took place? 1857. Right. So this Sipai Mutiny is also called as First War of Independence. Right. So after the Sipai Mutiny, the crown has completely took over the rule of the India from East India Company. Right. So this Government of India Act completely abolished East India Company. Got it? East India Company rule has been completely abolished from India after this Government of India Act 1858. All these days, India is under the rule of East India Company, but now it is under the direct rule of the British Crown. All the decisions will be taken by the British Crown directly because the East India Company is completely abolished. So who started ruling us? British Crown. Coming to the second point here, this Government of India Act is also known as Act of Good Government in India. Why it is called as an act of good government is this is because this act was introduced to do something good for the people, but finally it does not turned up so that is a different story. But this was introduced with the intention to do something good for the people, but we know that how far it has done good for our Indians. Okay, moving on. What are the different characteristics of this Government of India Act of 1858? Let us see that. The designation of the Governor General of India, sorry, yeah. The designation of Governor General of India was changed to Viceroy of India. Right. Viceroy was the direct representative of the British Crown in India. So the last Governor General of India was Lord Canning. So the first Viceroy of India is also Lord Canning. It is very easy for you to remember the names of this Governor General of India, Governor General of Bengal, Viceroy of India, because the last one has been replaced as a with a new designation. So it's very easy for you, but you have to remember. There is no other option. These are very important bits. So what are the points here in this particular side? The designation of the Governor General of India was changed to Viceroy of India. The last Governor General of India was Lord Canning. And the first Viceroy of India was also Lord Canning. Right, this is the first point and the characteristics. Coming to the second point here, this Government of India Act 1858 ended the system of double government. So if you remember, when we are talking about the excuse me, when we are talking about the East India Company rule, there we have discussed about the Board of Control, Court of Directors. Right. So the Board of Control have all is for administrative purpose, look after the administrative purpose. Similarly, the Court of Director look after the commercial activities. We have discussed all these points in the previous videos. Right. So these Board of Control and Court of Directors have been abolished. Means the double government has been abolished in Government of India Act 1858. So tomorrow you may get a question like, when does the Government of India Act has been government, when does the Board of Control and the Court of Directors has been abolished? It was abolished during the Government of India Act of 1858. Moving on. And one more new office has been created during this Government of India Act. It created a new office that is called as the Secretary of States for India. Secretary of States for India is vested with a complete authority and control over the Indian administrative. Means, apart from the Viceroy of India, already we know that the Governor General of India has been redesignated as the Viceroy of India. So already we have a Viceroy of India in India, right? Other than that, in order to rule us, we have a Secretary of the State for India. Okay, a new office has been opened. He is directly answerable to the British Parliament. Actually, he is a member of the British Parliament. So the British Crown will rule India through the Secretary of the State for India. Okay, so in this particular act, a new office was released. What was the new office? Secretary of State. Don't think that we are not having Viceroy. We are having Viceroy. Along with him, Secretary of State will also be there. Okay, and this Secretary of State, he cannot go for administration of all over the India. So he needs some assistance. So in order to assist him, a 15-member Council of India was established. Got it? So this act has established a 15-member Council of India to assist the Secretary of State for India. Okay, the council was an advisory body. It will help the Secretary of State in the administration. It start giving advices. It acts as an advisory body. Okay, the Secretary of State was made the chairman of the council. Here, let me explain you. Obviously, a single person cannot look after all the areas in India. So, he needs some assistance, which is provided by the 15-member council. Right. One more important point here is all the members in the council are from England, means none of them are Indians. Please remember that all the members in the 15-member council are from England. None of them are from India. Got it? So moving on. All the authorities like the legislative, executive, civil, military authorities were vested to the Secretary of the State. Means there were no separation of functions. All the functions, all the authorities were given under the Secretary of State of India. Means you can just imagine how powerful this particular post is. Got it? Moving on. So, this is the last slide. So, with this, we completed the first act under the Crown's rule, that is Government of India Act of 1858. Simply saying, the machinery of an administration was changed, but totally unconcerned about the people. Even though the name is regarding, means the name we gave for this is Act of Good Government, but this machinery or this act was completely, totally unconcerned about the public opinion. So the lives of Indians have not changed, even though the ruler has changed from East India Company to the British. Okay, so that's all for this video, guys. But let me tell you guys, each and every point in this video is important. Not only in this video, mainly the historical background and whatever the points that you get under the historical background is very, very important for your examination point of view. So take care. I'll meet you in the next session with one more